Okay, hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here to, as you can see, I'm like using a website right now, which is the Vanguard Paradox created by Fuzzy Paradox. So shout out to him because he do make a very good website containing a lot of decks. And today my focus will be on Zorga, and as you can see, I can just pull out like different languages like global or maybe JP, and then find out what are the deck lists that can be available as a reference. And I think it's about time for us to look into this. uh, for me, I haven't been like doing this kind of recording for a bit longer, so my like mic recording might be a little bit loud or something. I will try to adjust when I'm editing this video, but if there's anything with the sound, do let me know, and I will see what I can improve in future ones, because we definitely will be doing more this kind of videos on, especially for Solgar, when we are looking into analysis on what decks are winning, and looking at the builds. So you can see I do have right here quite a few lists to look on, and I am going to try from June 23rd and then up to August 26th. The day I'm recording this is the 30th of August, so if you see lists that are after that I'm not talking about, is because by the time I'm recording it's not there yet, so do know about this. Now Zorga, we have received update with Zorga Masques, and at very first time we are actually being able to run both blue or red version, but now what you mainly see the deck type that can top is actually blue Zorga, because blue Zorga is way stable. You don't have limitations on doing alchemy magic if you can't go onto your masks. That happens, that we can't avoid, unfortunately. And if you are actually playing the red one, which I did like very early, like late April to early May, I was mainly using red Zorga with Zorga Mask. uh, it, it is a lot of fun, I have to say. It's more challenging, because you need to Soul Blast one and discard a card in order to do alchemy magic, which for the blue one you just do it whatever you want. You don't have extra cost, and you only need to counter blast one to bring something back, and that can start a lot of things. For example, bounce back the cards that you need with Shadow Cloak, or bring out units that can actually help you out by all means, right? Or even bounce your Zorga Mask so that you can just bounce it back, recycle OT. There's a lot of things you can do with blue Zorga, but with red, you have to go very aggressive, because like compared to blue Zorga that you can simply alchemy magic, you need to again Soul Blast one and discard a card to pick up in order to do alchemy magic, right? But whenever you do alchemy magic, your front row will get plus 5k. This is great, but that also means you don't have a lot of souls to Soul Blast unless you chuck in like the Grade 2 Flower Girl. When you have no soul, you get Soul Charge 2. Use the mushroom so that you can generate 2 tokens while having an extra soul, else you will run out of things, and as long as you can't go into your Zorga Mask, you will be in a big trouble. With blue, you sort of don't have the problem. Of course, going to Zorga Mask will help you like a lot, but even if you can't go into your Zorga Mask, you can still kind of do little pokes that being annoying, and slow down your opponents by not giving them a lot of damage. Because if you can't go into Zorga Mask, you can't do your big turns. You can choose to do like a few pokes where your opponents will need to make sure they guard specific some of the attacks, and you can attack the reguards. Don't give them any extra counter blast, then they will still in trouble while you like continue build up with your resources, because you will bring back something. You will do alchemy magic to recover your resources, draw cards, do a lot of things, right? Yeah, so that's why blue is probably what you will be seeing as a mainstream if you are playing with Zorga. And if anyone taking a Zorga Mask deck into a tournament level, it will most likely be a blue Zorga. Yeah, and it also makes me to think about, is red Zorga have no future, at least until this moment. I was once up to that point that thinking red Zorga is probably not going to go into a competitive scene. It's not a bad deck, but again, it's too easy to run out of resources, and once you can't do Alchemy Magic, the deck is dead. It's not that you don't have an order in hand or drop zone to do Alchemy Magic like blue Zorga does. Is you don't have the soul to activate the skill to allow you to do Alchemy Magic, and then your Prison Dragon will not have both power and crit, and a lot of things won't be happening. So yeah, but in here we will be able to find out one red Zorga deck that actually top, and we can actually see what in there and look into it. So I have been talking long enough, but I think it's good to give you some kind of introductions on how I think the current Zorga status is. That it's not a bad deck to take into a competitive scene, because there are decks that Zorga can definitely handle, like Eva, like Prison, like Sarah Snow. You probably can fight Gandiva if you do it well. Willista, you might need to do a little bit more work on it, but it's not impossible, because Zorga can always go very aggressive even during the grade 1, grade 2 turn. That when decks takes time starting the grade 3 to build up and be so hard to beat, you have a chance to push them out when they get to grade 3 basically, or even make them a hard time so they can't do their normal plays, and then what you need to do is just extra little push and you can still win, because there isn't like a lot of very rushing deck. Gandiva seems like a little bit rushing, but it's not, because on the grade 1, grade 2 turn usually they are very slow with only like 1 attack or 2. So yeah, without further ado, let's look into some of the lists. Do remember, these lists I'm looking at are for JP versions, because they are more kind of updated with newer cards, and that's what I'm playing as the main language, so I'll be looking into those. Just a quick note. Okay, first one. So this is a blue Zorga build that what interesting, not funny, interesting is, of course, only one of the kill that they start to, like in the past, we like some people use 2 and some people even go for 3, but 1 is not a bad idea, because if you are too focused on using this card, that means you will need to rely on this card, and this takes a lot of things to happen. You first need to get into this card by drawing into it and discard it, playing it out so that you can use it intercept, guard with it, whatever. You need this card to happen. 2, you need to have a Dragon Tree marker. It's not a guarantee thing. Even if you go into your master unit, you are not guaranteed any Dragon Tree marker. So if any of these parts are missing, you won't be able to do this thing. So it's actually not easy to pull off, but it's a good tech if you really want a little extra push. But you will start to see like people are actually using less and less. Some people still use 2, some people not even using any, and we will like look into those lists, but focus on this one first. And because you have the kill here, you will have your little Dragon Tree cow here, so that you can recycle your order to generate your Dragon Tree marker. you at least need one. You usually need one, probably not two, so that you can save your resources for something else, because as long as you have one, you can bring this out. And then Shadow Cloak at 4, very standard. Zorga Masques at 4, very standard. Prison Dragon at 4, very standard. The beauty, is something that I sometimes use, sometimes not. If you are like very confident that you will bind a lot of cards, then yeah, she will be a good thing to go. But if you look at this list, there, except for yourself doing alchemy magic, you are not basically binding any extra stuff, because with, for example, the Great One order that allows you to pick 2 up, you will need to bind that card as well. So you will bind a lot of cards, and using the beauty will actually help you out, right? But that doesn't mean the beauty has no function in here. You can still kind of drop 1 to 2 from bind zone back to the drop zone, and then pick it up with the cow and then reuse it. That's a very common strategy that I use. So I don't see this card being weird here. This hill is actually a little surprising. Maybe because they see a lot of Great Force, so they just put this in, right? Yeah, because your Vanguard Great has to be lower than your opponent, so it probably is during the Messiah or like the Chrono Jet era. That's why they do that. And then a very standard 3 fronts, 8 crit, 4 heals build. Very surprising no Soaring crit, even though there are times you don't even have the luxury to put that card into your soul, and if you're not playing Red Soldier, then I think that's fine. So let's look into the orders as well before we go into the next list. 2 masks, very common, very standard. You need to, I tried that one and it's just a nightmare, so yeah. And then the Holy Grail, that's probably is because people haven't like recognized the crystal at that moment, so they're using the Holy Grail. But if you recognize that, you would definitely go for that. And then Miasma, just a simple power up that you need. Gain drive, rendering souls, something just good to have. But with this build, 2 might be a little bit too much, because you can recycle through these. So if it's me going with this kind of build, I probably will go for 1 and using some other orders, and this I will change it into the crystal. And then this Thaumiel, of course, is important. At least you have to have 1. Some people use 2, some people even use 3. And then Frozen, that is a card that I see less and less usage, but in Blue Soldier you kind of have the luxury to use the soul, and you need to fill up cards away to the drop zone, filling your deck anyway, so this is not a bad idea. I see in one period people actually taking this card out, and then like later they starting to put that in. So it's a good option for you to consider, do you actually want to put this into your deck or not. Alright, so very simple list, I would say. Just little interesting things, but most of the lists are very kind of standard, and we can look into the next one. Okay, so this one, you can see the structure is kind of the same with a few things. One is that they are using Hydrina. Not a bad idea. If you want to like increase the drop, that's the easiest way. And if you are using a lot of soul blasting orders, then she will be great for that. But actually we don't see any like kind of using soul except the frozen in here, so that's probably help you out to mill out the cards, because as I said, these are not that easy to just see. You sometimes just never see one until very late game, so using 1 Hydrina is a interesting tag for this. And The rest is basically similar to the previous list, except for a few things. One, the crystal, as I said, that people starting to recognize that, so they are using it. And then the red elemental OT, because you can use your Vision Dragon to hit 2 times. That's really great. I'm still using that, but I'm thinking of changing back to the Stoichia one as well. But it's up to you. Both are okay to go. Just different kind of strategy. Just find the one that you feel the best. And then yeah, you can see here E-Weather still cutting into 1 and using the place order. That's also something that starting to change, I think. Some people are using like the 3-1 split. Some people actually take this out because if you don't have a lot of like guard restrictions decks that you need to fight against, this is probably a better one, probably. And you are not limited to but like bound by using 1 Blitz order per turn, so that depending on the strategy. And then we have the Mystia Habitat, I think that's what it's called. So this is the promo card. I do have 4 copies myself as well. Very important card. Some people consider this over Frozen Resentment. It's like a higher value upgrade, they would say, because that exactly brings a card out of your deck. And it's look at 7 cards to do it, which is way better than look at 3, right? And it's a free order, so you just need to play it, right? So that's why people consider this is a better version. But you can see here it's still trying to use the Frozen One here, because sometimes you might actually soul charge something that, or maybe like someone force you to soul charge cards. So it's not a bad idea to use it, but it really depending on how you manage your resources. And the rest is pretty simple, but you can see here the front from 3 become 4, which is more like a personal preference. I personally do like 4 fronts as well, because like when your opponent's trying to 2 past you and you open 2 fronts, it will be a kind of nightmare to them. Yeah, so there we go. So here is the second list, and I think that's nothing too much I need to talk about. And let's go into the next one. So this one very interesting, that not only it get blue, it also got red, but you can see in the blue is in the right deck still. So rest is kind of simple, and I do think this list kinds of like what the Japanese Zorga expert Hayate is, like Kagami Hayate is running, because like this is like his symbol card right now, kind of. That is a very good Blitz order if you manage it well. And you can see from the PGs there's 4 here. So that's the reason why we are cutting out the Blitz order PG, because if you are using this card, then you probably need to give it up on that one, because you only play 1 Blitz order per turn, and this draws you a card as long as you have a soul. And in order to do that, you need to make sure your orders are not soul blasting cards, because if not, then you will be in trouble, right? And when you're using this during your opponent's turn, it like a little tech here, you will activate your Shadow Cloak. So if you do have extra soul, you can actually bounce something back if you want to. It's not a must, but it's just a interesting tech that you can do. And then again with this crystal, free miasma, because you do need the extra power push. I don't see much reason on the red Soldier. It's probably just a like extra random Soldier that you can put and activate your Zorga Masques. So it doesn't matter if it's blue or red here, but probably will be better if you are like using the blue one in your right deck. You better be using another blue. So worst of the worst, you can just personalize with that card, so you can still do some stuff, right? And you can see here, no great ones, no kill. This is a free punch build, and this allows you to pick up 2 order cards. It didn't say any type of order, so you can actually pick this up for your defense. And the more type of orders that you have in your drop zone and bind zone, this will get stronger for your defense. And we look into like a lot of different effect kills against with gain crit, against with multiple attacking with the same unit, but they are 25k shields sometimes, but people can dodge it. Like if you use the plus crit, then they just don't go for gaining crit by themselves. If they are attacking multiple times, they will choose to use another unit to attack you multiple times. So every single unit is only attacking one time, and those heals that prevent same unit attacking multiple times will not be working. So this might come in handy. And you can see this is being used as free copies, which means sometimes when there are big hits, this will be a saver. So very interesting build, which I see the shadows of Kagami Hayate in here, which later you'll actually see another build of that I can be guaranteed is his, and yeah, we can look into that next. So yet another blue Zorga, and as long as you see kill, you will see Dragon Street Wretch, and the rest again the Grail. This one actually used free Frozen Resentment, and only 1 me as well. Very interesting. So I think they are relying on like reborning units, pulling out cards, so they can just do the 4 attacks quicker and just win from there. And the ratios, this is actually using draw. Some people hate draw, but I think if you think draw is better for you, go for it. But of course, personally, I like fronts. Since I use fronts in Zorga, I just can't stop myself using it anymore. Yeah, that's basically it, I think. Yeah. Order wise, very basic stuff. So but this is very interesting. 3 copies, so it's up to you. Again, Holy Grail, I probably won't be using this. I'd rather use the crystal to bring something out and then bounce it back to my hand. The next one. So again, it's kind of like a Kagami Hayate build, kind of. But this one still used the kill and the Generator Wretch here. Crystal, 2 of this, defensive order. Yeah. You can see the builds are actually quite similar, but as long as you have the kill, you have the Generator Wretch. If you don't have these, you won't see this. If you are not going for the 4th attack, the Dragon marker is not needed at all, basically. And 3 punches is still kind of threatening right now, because in the past we are not that threatening because we only have the 10k from the personal right, but now we also have the extra 10k to the front row with Zorga Masques as long as you do Alchemy Magic. So plus 20k is way different from plus 10k. Yeah, that's basically it. And as long as you manage how your attack sequence goes, it can be very painful to the opponent, because they might need to consider if they want to take the first hit that is from a Prison Dragon with 2 crit, which can be sometimes annoying and push them to a level that they are very hard to guard with. And then when your Vanguard is on triple drive, they will still need to give you a lot of stuff. So yeah. very simple list again, so we can look into the next one very fast. Interesting. This one, you can see here, it's like very similar. I think this is quite standardized right now. Yeah. And then the Dragon Tree Wretch and the Q combo here, you can see the roll of First Vanguard, so it's probably the same guy from the previous list, but he uses 2 of these to block from multiple attack from same unit. That's probably depending on meta. Yeah, the rest is basically the same, so nothing too much to say about this. And here we are, the red Zorga build. I am very surprised to see this actually topped. Well, not like the champion. This one I think is 3rd place. Yeah, this is 3rd place. So I think it's still a team. I really wish I could like interview this guy on this, because I have so much questions about like, not questioning how he built the deck, but I'm questioning on, like, I want to know his matchups, how many wins he gets, how many losses he gets against which deck, and the reason he choose to use Red Zorga. Yeah, a lot of things. So I really wish I have a chance to like even just talk to this guy and then just tell you guys what he thought, even without like putting in the video and interview the guy. But yeah, maybe if I later get a chance, I will try, but I don't have the connections, so it might not happen. If it happens, you will know. Yeah, but I'm very interested when I look at this list. Of course, just as a build wise, I think it's quite standard that 2 masks, 1 miasma probably will increase 1 if it's me, while intelligence to help me out the deck, throw summon to also like thin out the deck because you need to soul blast, so you consider some counter blast options. This to look into more cards. This is just great. And the best order is up to you. And then using 2 because you are going for red, you need the aggression, so you need the kill and the cow pair to help you out, and you even need to use this to early push so that you can grab yourself a Dragon Tree marker and a mask. Yeah, even Shadow Cook can put something there. You need to prepare for the worst that you don't have soul for Arcane Magic, then at least you can still play just a simple mask from hand and then just go into your Zorga Masques, right? Yeah, sometimes your opponents are grade 3. When you go into Red Zorga, you, for some reason, you just don't have enough resources to do a lot of things, then you can still at least go a person right with Zorga Masques and at least gain the 10k to the front row there. But usually, when you go into your Red Zorga, you at least have 1 soul from your grade 2. But depending on how you actually need to use the cards, maybe that's the moment that you actually need to use your deep selling. Not remembering the English name for this card, but yeah, you might actually need to use the soul for this, so you can't Arcane Magic, then at least you can just play a mask, search for a Zorga Masque, and then just go on top of it. So and if you're going for aggression, if you're going for binding cards, then ability is definitely something that you need. Yeah, so that's not much more I can tell with this deck. Again, if I can get to interview this guy, then I will probably do it, or at least again like hear from what he say, matchups, reason on like taking Red Zorga, reasons on the order choices, all that. And the final one we're looking at, this one is definitely from Kagami Hayate for a few things. One is maxed out. Two, these ones are maxed out. 3, got this. 4, he was like asking for this. I do have like a playset for myself as well, so I think at least I have 3, if not a playset. And most importantly, this card he's running at 3. So this is a build that I really want to share with you guys. I have been playing against it, or at least a very similar build, but I think the one that I thought was exactly that, because sometimes I do actually play with him through Discord remote fight, so I can like directly feel the pressure that he can bring, and sometimes we just do fun plays. So there's a lot of things you can learn from Kagami Hayate, and he is also doing a YouTube channel himself. So he is very he's a very good guy. He just willing to share basically all the secrets, because what he said is, if he can share his idea to people about Zorga, that also means he can learn things from different viewers, because everyone have their own recipe, and some people might think something that he never thought of, because we are not the same person. So that is something that I'm also agree on, that sharing what we think is the great recipe for Zorga, and just drive more people to play with it, and driving more people to think and share their thoughts. That will make the deck better, because even if your opponents like know exactly what your deck this is, they cannot completely predict what your actions are, right? And for example, if I know my opponent is going to have this, does that mean I'm not doing small pokes? I have to do it, right? Or do I not go for a big attack that this can cover? No, I'm still going to do it, but you will have to start thinking, this guy have this card, is he using it, when he's using it, and does it help out? There's a lot of things. So let's also talk about this build. First thing, no grade 1s except the PGs. 2, no Blitz Order PGs because you're using this. And then the rest, these ones, again, this one for you to pick up the Blitz Order if you want to. 3 Miasma, because it brings out something great that you can recycle or whatever, and then extra power to your front row. Vision Dragon quite standard, Shadow Cloak quite standard. The use of OT is the Stoichia one, so that you kind of have more gaining stuff, because even if there's a Prison Dragon with 100 million that can attack 2 times, it's not always guarantee you winning. Of course, this one is not always guarantee you winning as well, but this increase the threat of your Vanguard, because if your opponent is stuck in their mind that people are using the red elemental OT, that means your Vanguard, unless you pull a crit, pulling OT is not a threat to them, because if you put 100 million to your Vanguard, that means your Regard attacks will not be scary. If you put the 100 million to your Regards, you just need to focus on guarding those 2. And if it's a moment that they take a hit when they're 5 damage, they're gone, that even doesn't matter, right? Like, no matter which side you give on, he's probably going to lose if they see an OT, unless they're fully prepared. Like, they have exactly 4 PGs to stop all your Zorga attacks by all means, then yeah, then again, in this kind of situation, no matter which kind of OTs you use, that doesn't matter. But this, you can consider an extra critical trigger in your deck. Not because the red elemental one only withstands, so it doesn't gain crit. But this one does. And this one you have actually more control. You get to draw cards, you get to heal. You can see this deck being very tough with like a lot of defenses, a lot of deck thinning, and this also deck thinning. So you can see things are going very simple. You don't overthink of a lot of things. You just set up with Prison Dragons to just punching, and then use your Shadow Cloak to recycle. Also, another thing to look at is you don't always put 2 Prison Dragons out, even though of course this one is another Prison Dragon if you you're not aware. So he did run 4, but sometimes you will just go with Shadow Cloak, Vanguard, Prison Dragon. Just use these 3 units for 3 attacks, right? You won't gain a lot of boost unless from your regular chain that you brought back. So the numbers, you need to be very clear yourself which kind of power level will make your opponents hard to guard, what will be annoying. Sometimes a 20k or 25k will be a different level of annoying if you are going for Shadow Cloak, or like 30 to 35, depending on how you go into your Zorga Mask, right? If you're not person riding, then your Shadow Cloak will likely be 20 or 25. So you want your opponents to drop a tanky guard, or you want them to give you more than a tanky guard. So there's a lot of power adjustment you can do, and when the game goes in a little bit more intense, that hand size is very small. These sort of small numbers are what changes things. Also, not sure if you guys notice, is using 2 blue Zorga, which, as I said, worst of worst, you can just person right on that card, and it's a very good card that you can bring out with your crystal, because you need to bring out 2 grade 3 with different naming. We aren't running any grade 4s, so you don't need to care about that. So you have 3 options. The Prison Dragon for you to thin it out, to pull it out by force. The blue Zorga, which usually is the first target, so that you can bounce it back for a person ride, or just let it be gone, so that you can use it for your Zorga Mask. You can do it 2 times, which is better than just 1 time. Or you can, like what I usually do, call a Zorga Mask and then use Shadow Cloak to bounce it back to my hand. Yeah. So other cards I think are quite standard. You can see he's not using Froze Resentment at all. He's relying on Mystiac Habitat, and then just see how things recycles. So the orders he used are 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. So you can see we are still running a lot of orders, and in order to fit in a lot of orders, then you need to give up something, which is the Dragon Tree and the Kill package. But 3 attacks are scary still. Zorga has been scary with just 3 attacks. Kill is just an extra stuff, but then when you're starting to use a lot more Counter Blast, then you might not have the space to actually do it. Because even if I try to use it in my blue Zorga, I sometimes don't find the cost to actually bring the Q out. I have to set up, but I don't have the cost to do it. So yeah, and sometimes you just can't use Tearful Malice as one of the Alchemy Magic option, because there are more important things for you to do before you actually do that. Yeah, that's basically it. So we have looked into the decks. I think the video is long enough. So if you have any questions on this kind of list, do let me know. Any thoughts you want to share, you can let me know as well. You can check all the lists from these sites. Again, Vanguard Paradox, you can just look into it, and you can look into decks, and then you can look into deck type, find Zorga, and you will see yourself this list. You can also see English list if you want to. But again, because I'm a JP main, so I'm looking into the JP list for like things that I can always reference onto. If you do want another video that me talking about like the deck stats, for example, like the use rates of cards, what I think about specific options of these cards, do comments down below, let me know. Because this site, you can just, for example, put normal units and you can only see normal units there and do some analysis from it. So it's very clean, very detailed, and I'm using this site from time to time when I'm looking for resources for specific decks, when I want to get some reference. Of course, I will also be relying on like sites like Twitter that always get updated like firsthand because it's official tournament, and those results will directly be separate, like given out by officials. But if you are looking into like multiple languages, how things goes, this is definitely a site that you should go for. I'm so happy that it's still here. And whenever Hong Kong we have the WGP, I will share the results on Twitter and also let him know, so he'll also update on the list, so you can also see like when Hong Kong have WGP, the results will also be on this site. I will try to make sure they are like getting to him ASAP, but because sometimes I need to wait for the report, got sent out and I had the permission to like put out the top decks. If not, then I'm not supposed to do it, right? Because there are people like asking me about different lists during the match that I recorded in the WGP for early rounds, but I'm not supposed to like tell you guys the deck code of people that are not topping, and those are not in the report, right? So yeah, that's something that unfortunate, but it's protection for different players, so I can only post what I'm allowed. But yeah, again, this site, make sure you make good use of it. People put a lot of effort to actually make that happen, so yeah, show them your support as well. I will probably do another like Zorga analysis video, probably maybe like end of October, because like 1 month probably not going to change a lot of things. 2 months probably will have enough things to look at, so I will try to do it like in a 2 to 3 months basis, depending on how things goes. And we are getting next main set like end of September, so from there we can see some stuff, and then is lyrical, and then other starters. So like October and November probably will not have much changes, if you ask me. So yeah, I think just let the new set come out, we can look into it again if anything changes, or if anything tops. If there's nothing topping, unfortunately, then I probably won't be doing another video, because it's just the same builds. Then like it's just exactly these decks that are like already done it. So yeah, it depends. Do let me know in the comments down below that do you like this kind of video. I probably won't be doing this for other deck types, because I'm also a Zorga main. I just like to share things about Zorga. I want more people to actually play Zorga, and also this is a good learning for myself as well. So yeah, that's basically it. Basically what I need to tell in this video. Again, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this type of video, on Zorga, anything. Subscribe for more deck fights, unboxings, deck profiles, and maybe sometimes this kind of analysis video. Share with your friends, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.